and I'll pass you over to Sarah, Kay and Paul.
Hi there. Hi there. Thanks for coming today. It's great to see so many of you interested in finding out more about our small grants fund. Some of you I have met, I think, and others are new faces to me. So welcome today. It's good to have you here. So yeah, my name is Kay Howells and I am the Community Cohesion Coordinator for Mid and South West Wales. So our team covers Carmarthenshire, Ceredigion, Pembrokeshire and Powys. And within the team are cohesion officers, that's Sarah Bowen covering Ceredigion and Powys, and Paul Davis covering Carmarthenshire and Pembrokeshire. So Sarah and Paul will talk a little bit around some of our work shortly. But some of you may be unfamiliar with the term community cohesion.
You've gone on mute, Kay.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I seem to have gone on mute. There we are. So yeah, so some of you may be unfamiliar with the term community cohesion. So I thought it would be useful to give you a brief overview as to what that means and some of the work that the team is involved with. So I'll start the session today by giving a bit of background about the cohesion programme, and then Sarah and Paul will give an update on some of the work we're involved with, and then we'll give you some information specifically about the grant fund. And then after that, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions specifically about the project funding. Okay, so to give you a bit of background, the Mid and South West Wales Community Cohesion Team has been funded since 2012 by Welsh Government. And the aim is to deliver a consistent approach to cohesion across Wales. So the three of us have all been in post since 2019, when teams across Wales were expanded. So previous to that, there was just one coordinator in post. That was my predecessor. And at the moment, there are 8 cohesion teams across Wales.
Okay, I'm not going to go through repeat victims.
Oh, there you go. So there are eight teams across Wales, and we all cover different regions. So community cohesion is about people living alongside one another, sharing values and having respect for one another, regardless of their background, age or culture. It's about valuing difference and diversity and ensuring that people feel safe in their community. And it's also about ensuring that new communities can integrate well with existing populations and that there are opportunities to get to know one another and live together with mutual understanding. So our region has a diverse population and we all have a collective responsibility to ensure that all community members are treated equally, feel included, and any barriers are removed to allow full participation. Some of the priorities that we have include working in partnership with a wide range of organisations to monitor and respond to community tensions. We raise awareness of hate crime and how to report it, and we engage with minority and marginalised communities. So we've been involved in promoting the EU settlement scheme, and we're involved in promoting campaigns around things like Refugee Week, Holocaust Memorial Day, Gypsy Roma Traveller History Month. We're also, when circumstances allow us, involved in community events. We support on equalities issues, and we also are involved with communications with a wide range of communities and research into issues such as the impact of COVID or Brexit and what the impact has been on our communities. So that's a bit about the background of our work, but what I'm going to do now is hand over to Sarah, who is going to go into a bit more detail on some of the campaigns and initiatives that we work on throughout the year. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kay. Hi, everyone. So as Kay has said, I'm Sarah. I'm one of the Community Cohesion Officers working within the Mid and South West Wales Cohesion Team. And I specifically cover Ceredigion and Powys, but work regionally across the whole of the 4 counties too. So I'm now going to provide some information on the type of campaigns that we regularly promote as part of our work, and also to tell you a little bit about some examples of the work we've recently developed. This may provide you with some ideas about the types of projects we're looking at funding, but that's not to say that other projects won't be considered too. So starting with Hate Crime Awareness Week. This annual campaign takes place every October, and this year it will run between Saturday the 9th to Saturday the 16th of October. Last year, our team worked collaboratively with a range of statutory and third sector organisations, including the OPCC, Dyfed Powys Police, Victim Support, Race Council Cymru, and the local authorities in our region. We arranged a joint press release, some social media posts, and we commissioned a filmmaker to produce a short animated film, raising awareness of what constitutes a hate crime and how to best report it, with a specific focus on how hate crime should never be tolerated. So I'd like now to present this film to you, so please bear with me while I share my screen.
In 2019, there were over 100,000 hate crime offences in England and Wales, and many more went unreported. Hate crime is always unacceptable and will not be tolerated anywhere. So what is hate crime? It can be any form of abuse against you, verbal or physical, online or offline, and purely because of who you are. Regardless of religion, race, or sexual orientation, abuse is never acceptable. We are all people. If hate crime happens to you, or if you witness it anywhere, please report it to Victim Support or the police. You will be taken seriously, supported, and helped to feel safe. Together, we can say no to hate crime.
Okay, so as you can see there, that particular film, I'm sure you'll agree, is very effective. It's snappy, it's short, it's powerful, and it provides the viewer with clear information about this important subject. Unfortunately, hate crime figures have increased over the past few years nationally, and as a result, we feel it is more important than ever to promote awareness raising of it and help educate and inform the public, and in doing so, help mitigate the risk of further hate crime incidents occurring. We already have a range of ideas of how we'll mark Hate Crime Awareness Week this year, and we will once again be working closely with partners in developing innovative and effective ways of sharing this important message as widely as possible. We'd be very keen to receive some ideas from you should your project idea have links to hate crime awareness and prevention. So another campaign I'd like to speak about today that we focus on each year is Holocaust Memorial Day. This commemorative day takes place every January, and in 2020, before the pandemic, we helped promote a series of different events which took place across our region that aimed to raise awareness of the Holocaust and other genocides that have taken place worldwide. One of the events was held in Aberystwyth and featured a speaker whose grandfather was murdered in Auschwitz. There was also a very moving exhibition which was attended by a number of school children and members of the public. This January, we were unable to organise any events, obviously due to COVID, but we did organise a series of social media posts to mark the day across the 4 local authorities. We also arranged for several public buildings in Aberystwyth, Carmarthen and Haverfordwest to be lit up purple in solidarity with the Jewish community living locally. Hopefully, by January 2022, we will be in a position to look at some face-to-face events. And again, we'd be thrilled to receive ideas from you regarding ways in which communities can come together to mark Holocaust Memorial Day, should this form part of your funding application. This February, we also celebrated LGBT History Month. For this campaign, we helped promote an online event, which was organised by Aberystwyth University's LGBT group Arboration. The event featured talks, music, poetry, and a quiz. In addition, rainbow flags were flown across many public buildings across our region. And next February, we hope to see many more projects and events planned to celebrate and support the LGBTQ communities across the Mid and South West Wales region. And we do actively encourage projects which meet this objective through your applications to the small grant scheme. Gypsy Roma Traveller History Month is another campaign I'd like to talk to you about. It takes place every June and aims to raise awareness of the lifestyles, traditions and values of the Gypsy, Roma and Traveller communities across the region. We work closely with organisations such as Travelling Ahead and to help reach out and engage with this often sadly discriminated group, and also to raise awareness and dispel false information. This year, we run a competition, which was for children to design face masks, and that was children within the Gypsy, Roma and Traveller community, and the winning entries have had their designs made into masks. Finally, I'd like to talk about Refugee Week. This is a campaign run in June every year. It's a major one for us. And this year we were very proud to have been able to formally launch a short film, again, which we commissioned and produced. This film focused on some of the positive and amazing work being done by the refugee communities across our region. I'd now like to end my presentation by showcasing this moving and wonderful short film. So again, please bear with me while I sort out the technology.
So the Syrian Dinner Project started up by one of our team and a group of the Syrian women who had an interest in catering.
We are 3 ladies from Syria, love to cook. We started events for give money for trips for families and make a first event. And after that, make more events. Our project unites us. We cook with love, sharing food for the community.
It then developed because it was received so well by the local community. So it developed into a social enterprise. In this pandemic period, they've been doing takeaways, and it's just been an incredibly good boost to the women's self-esteem and their sense of confidence and their sense of belonging. So one of the women said to me recently that she felt like she'd been born here, and she felt this community was incredibly welcoming. And yeah, it's been a great collaborative initiative.
It was just so intimate and casual and carefree, because I think in concerts like these bring out a side of them that maybe doesn't have the chance to come out during daily life. So to actually show another side of those people, they're not just shy people trying to figure their way out here. They have culture, they have so much joy to live and to bring out and share with others.
The children had fun.
The family have been making food for tonight.
Food was a really good idea because the Syrian families are inviting us to their home, albeit they've had to make a new home, but we are their guests for tonight. We are their guests, and I think that's a great idea and a great thing to do.
It gets me every time. I think that film is absolutely wonderful. I hope you enjoyed it as well. So there we have it. Thank you for listening and for watching. As you can see, it is a really special film. And once again, we would actively encourage you to consider applying for funding to make similar creative projects come to life. So I'm going to now hand over to my colleague Paul, who will tell you a bit more about some of the previous projects which we funded through the Community Cohesion Small Grant Scheme. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Hello, everybody. I'm Paul, and I cover Canolbarth and Pembrokeshire, as Kay's already said. Basically, I'm going to go through 2 examples of groups that the Cohesion team have funded in the last round of funding applications. Firstly, the Friends and Neighbours Together group, and secondly, the Big Welsh Rhyme Time, which is down in Narberth in Pembrokeshire. Right, basically, the Friends and Neighbours Together group is a charity. This particular charity promotes religious and racial harmony by developing and strengthening good relations between individuals of all beliefs, basically fostering a kindred spirit and mutual understanding and respect between individuals. How did this happen? Well, initially, when we first started off funding, I went down to Llanelli and it was face-to-face meetings. Then latterly, when COVID came about us, it was reduced then to Zoom meetings, which normally take about an hour's time. What basically you're asking yourselves, what happens in a friends and neighbours group meeting? Well, all the individuals get together, usually with a cup of tea. They introduce themselves. They talk about the highlights of their week. Then we get given a sort of chosen subject, and everybody speaks in turn about that particular subject. This can be difficult for some individuals as their English isn't brilliant. it can be difficult for other individuals who are quite shy. And as I say, the meetings last for an hour. And what are the benefits that the cohesion team have found from the fan meetings? Well, first of all, the meetings bring people together. It brings people together from all over the world who are in the particular locality. Now, when I attended the Llanelli meeting, there were individuals from Llanelli who were Welsh nationals, brought up in Llanelli, people who moved into Llanelli for jobs, family reasons, a number of sort of Eastern Europeans, Africans, Indians. There's people from all over. And what we're asking ourselves again, why are these people encouraged to come to the meetings? Well, you can learn firsthand about other cultures, customs, and day-to-day lives of other people. If you're feeling lonely, you can come to the meeting. For example, local individuals came to the meeting out of interest, out of meeting other people, different backgrounds. Local individuals came to these meetings to share their local knowledge, make new friends. As I said initially, when this second round of funding came around, we were in the middle of sort of COVID lockdown, and Fan approached us, who set up a group for the Penally asylum seekers down in Tenby Way. The initial meetings in January 2021, we had 12 attendees from Venezuela, Eritrea, and Turkey. We followed that process all the way down to May, when we were up to 38 attendees from 7 UK nationals: Syria, Nigeria, Iran, Korea, and Afghanistan. And latterly, when the camp was moved, it was held on Zoom by the same individuals who were rehoused in sort of Newport, Cardiff way. So the outcome of the fan groups is accessible to all individuals throughout the community. It brought a greater understanding of people who were in the same community but never had the opportunity to talk to each other. And it trained up 3 facilitators who then can move out of that fan-based group and start fan somewhere else. The digital exclusion was challenged via Zoom, and opportunities to liaise with other people outside the fan group by the individuals inside the group. They made friendships, so they met up for coffee and tea, etc., etc. So that was one of the most popular sort of funding for us. Moving on to the Big Welsh Rhyme Time down in Narberth. Basically, it was a storytelling and rhyme telling session. It was open to any members of the community, but those sort of stories and rhymes were based with sort of under 3s, 3-year-olds, then under 7s, and then under 10s. What were the sort of anticipated outcomes when we received the funding application? It brought people closer relationships together in the community, especially among sort of underrepresented groups. New parents or families who were new to the area, hadn't made any friends. And as a result of the sort of rhyme time, 47 families attended, 11 of which were new to the area. 97% of the participants sort of stated that their sort of confidence had increased by knowing various people and meeting various people in the area. Then I'll move on to sort of how did this actually assist with the cohesion side of things. Well, community cohesion was improved by better understanding of sort of the communities that the individuals had moved into. Latterly, the Syrian families who were rehoused, the refugees, attended the sessions, and they sort of it again increased their sort of English language, their confidence, and they made contacts within the community. And basically 100% of the participants in Rhyme Time session said they would do it again. So there you are. If I can hand back over to Kay.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So that's, I hope, hopefully given you a bit of an insight as to just a handful of projects that we funded over the past 12 to 18 months or so. So I'll now go on to just talk to you about the project brief, and you know, after I've gone through that, then there's an opportunity for anybody who has any questions to ask them. So the small grant fund that is available, we've got up to £2,000 per project available to develop projects that bring communities together safely. So that could be either online or in person, whatever is appropriate. You know, we've had situations where we've had to projects have had to kind of alter their plans halfway through because of COVID restrictions. So we ask that projects, you know, consider this as part of their brief. And it's basically about ensuring that groups can come together and access initiatives that promote cohesive communities. So as we've already said, this is the third round of funding that we've made available. And I know that we've already heard about some of the projects that we've funded in the past. So the reason why we set the fund up was that we felt that community-led projects are a really great way of bringing people together and can help build unity within a community. They can bring people together from different diverse backgrounds, and they can be a really good way of helping people to get to know one another, to break down barriers, and to allow friendships to develop. And it can also help to heal divisions or strengthen bonds between people. And this can help communities develop, which become very cohesive. So it's about what happens to ensure that different groups of people get on well in an area. So a cohesive community is an area where those from different backgrounds have positive relationships. You know, we can see sometimes that things like segregation and misunderstanding and tensions can occur between all sorts of different communities. For example, communities of older and younger people, different ethnicities, or people from different neighbourhoods, or different sexualities. And the purpose of the fund really is to help us to achieve the following outcomes. So we want different communities to get on well together. Bringing communities together to develop that understanding and have meaningful engagement. We want everyone in a community to feel like they belong. So it's about helping people feel at home and to see that diversity is a strength and a positive thing to be enjoyed within a community. We want young people to understand and respect different communities, and we want adults and young people to get along well together. And we also want there to be sort of freedom from community tensions. So by addressing tensions and the causes of them, that can help to strengthen bonds within the community. And then finally, what we aim to kind of see is that communities in our region stand against hate crime, and that it will not be tolerated, and that people understand what hate crime is and how to report it. So we would like to encourage applications that kind of hit upon these sorts of areas. Maybe encouraging projects that help bring people together. This could mean helping people to understand one another's cultures and traditions, and it could involve new ways of working, perhaps developing materials which can bring people together and promote diversity. We are looking for funding bids with a focus on project work that rather than sort of improving premises or core equipment, the emphasis really has to be on sort of engagement activities. However, we can look at some of the funding being used to purchase some small items which will enhance the engagement work, and also to pay for the facilitation of events. So we are looking for projects that give particular focus to the following. So Sarah mentioned some of the sort of commemorative events that we promote throughout the year. So things like Hate Crime Awareness Week, Black History Month, Holocaust Memorial Day, LGBT History Month, Learning Disability Week, Interfaith Week, International Day of the Disability. So basically, we can provide anyone who's interested with a list of kind of some of the key campaigns that we work to promote throughout the year. And we're really keen to see projects that might be interested in supporting some of those particular initiatives. Then we're also looking for projects that foster good relations by developing events to bring people together. So events should promote social contact and interaction. For instance, it could be bringing people together to cook together, or community music groups for young people from different nationalities, or community arts-based projects, or interfaith events. There's a wide range of sort of engagement initiatives which we would consider. It's also then about creating spaces and opportunities for people to come together from different backgrounds, so making people feel safe to come together, and to encourage sort of diversity and start those conversations happening. And then also projects that engage with minority communities, including involving diverse groups in developing initiatives to promote cohesion based on the needs of that particular community and the wider community, and maybe also to mitigate any tensions that may be happening within a community. Okay, so the funding needs to be spent by the 26th of February 2022, so that we have time then to kind of collate all of the final reports in time for the end of the financial year. What we ask for is successful projects will complete an interim report halfway through the project, and then a final project at the end of the project. Because we are Welsh Government funded, we would require all projects to include appropriate Welsh Government logos, which we can supply, to include on any sort of publicity that helps to promote the project as well. And then finally, to apply to the fund, we have an application form and a briefing note to go along with that. The form needs to be completed and returned to us by the 31st of August this year. And we aim to let all successful applicants know whether or not they've been successful or not by mid-September. So I think that's enough of us talking, and I'll open it up to participants today to ask any questions that they may have. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we've had a few questions in the chat box, which I've been responding to.
Oh, great. Okay. Okay, so
yeah, if you'd like to ask a question directly, just raise your hand in the on Zoom, and we can bring you in. So first of all, we've got Diana. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Oh, hi. Yes, just when you said about it being Welsh Government funded and the logos needed to be added, etc., I suddenly thought, do all of the reports and promotional materials need to be bilingual?
Yes, they would. We need to adhere to the Welsh language or the Welsh language policy. So yes, we would need, that would be a requirement of the project. And actually, we do have an application form in Welsh for anyone who would like to apply to the scheme through the medium of Welsh as well.
Thank you. And would there be any funds available within the grant to assist with translation costs?
I think that would be fine. Actually, I think you could add that into the project proposal. Yeah, so that could form part of the £2,000.
Okay, thank you.
And there's Stuart Webb, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, hiya, you okay? The first question is can councils apply? Because I work for Powys County Council.
Yeah, we're giving sort of priority to community organisations, but we aren't saying that local authorities can't apply, especially if they are looking to develop something perhaps in partnership with communities. Okay. That would be our preference.
Fantastic, cheers. And where do we get the application forms from?
So Sarah has got the application form. So everyone who's attended today, if they would like to receive application forms, we can get everybody's contact details from Cerys if that's okay, and we can send them out to you after the event.
Yeah, we can definitely arrange that for everyone to receive the application forms.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, and Sue, you've got a question?
Yeah, on the same theme, can housing associations apply?
Yeah, again, housing associations would be happy to receive applications from housing associations, yes.
The thing is, it's a new estate we have, and there are some issues with antisocial behaviour between older young people and the community, but it's a brand new estate and we haven't got huge amounts of connections yet with them. So it's a really tight turnaround on that. So yeah, you know, it's how much community involvement is needed. Does it have to be their idea, or can we say, like, we would like to do an event to get you all together to come and meet each other, you know? And I'm thinking around an arts project. So, you know, how much prior community consultation needs to have been done?
I would say that, you know, that could be looked at as part of the project, you know, build that consultation into the project potentially.
Okay.
You know, and I know you're talking sort of, you know, we've got these few months for this project to run. It could be that maybe the project is some sort of pre-work, and then you might want to apply for other funding to do kind of additional work further down the line. You know, we can working with the CVCs, we can help to promote sort of other funding streams then that come online to do follow-on work potentially afterwards.
Is this going to be open again next year as well?
We don't know.
Right.
We're only funded at the moment until the end of March 2022. We're hopeful that you know, there will be further rounds of funding after that date, but at the moment we just don't know, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you, Kay.
Okay.
Jackie?
I was just going to mention that the local CVCs also have the application form. So, you know, I know that you probably want to get people to contact you, to Kay, or Sarah, to make sure you've got a list. But we're promoting it as well, this scheme, so it gets far and wide. And just to mention, like, August isn't a very good month to put application forms out when lots of people are taking annual leave. And some of the people that are on annual leave are the ones that would be applying for funding. So just I know it's like tight deadlines and everything, but that's just to be mindful of, not to be excluding those who potentially haven't got capacity at the moment to apply. But absolutely welcome this £2,000 to community groups. Thank you.
I know, apologies, you know, it's just fallen that way for us, unfortunately, this time, that the funding bids, you know, we've taken this round of funding during the summer, but totally I take on board your point, and you know, we'll factor that in should we be, you know, have another round of funding.
Kay, there's a number of questions in the chat that I'm not sure of the answer to, so if I could just alert you to them. Would you like me to read them?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, so Perminda is asking, how many grants will we support? What is the total budget?
Okay, we're hoping we're hoping to support between sort of 8 to 15 projects, depending on how much money projects apply for, because sometimes projects don't apply for the full £2,000. You know, some projects may only apply for several £100s, and that's fine. But that then allows us to fund more projects potentially. So we're looking at a total of approximately £20,000, I think it is, that we're aiming to use for this fund.
Oh, great, thanks for that. Rachel's asking if community groups need to be constituted to be eligible to apply. We
would need applicants to have a you know, a bank account as a community group. Yes, so you know, we wouldn't be able to fund kind of groups that are you know, where we're looking at individual bank accounts.
Hopefully that answered your question, Rachel. And Kathy asks, are you expecting the activities to take place between September 2021 and February 2022?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we've decided on the successful applications, the funding then will you know, be released to those groups with the necessary paperwork and framework of conditions. But yes, the funding will need to be spent, and the activities will need to have taken place by February 2022.
Okay, I think that's all the questions in the chat. We've got a couple of hands up though, I think.
Stuart, are you wanting to come back in?
Yeah, I've just got one more question. Can we make more than one application?
Yeah, that's fine, and there's nothing to stop you making you know, more than one application. Yeah.
Brilliant, cheers, thank you.
Great, are there any other questions?
I think Errol wants to come in.
Yeah, can I just ask, you know, we're a tiny little village. We've got about 80 properties in the village, but it is very diverse, and there's a lot of volatility going on there at the moment. Nothing, we haven't got any community building, so we haven't got anywhere to hold any event like this. So we were thinking of something a little bit more specific, and we have started up a little gardening group now, and we have come on in sort of leaps and bounds over the last year, and we've sort of transformed the village green. It's now been mowed and we've got flowers and blah blah blah, so it is looking lovely. So there is a sense of pride and place arising in the village. So when we had a little group meeting with the gardening yesterday, I asked them, you know, what would you like if we could use this funding for anything? What would you like with the money? And of course, you know, there was a few young kids there and they wanted a play area. Well, I understand, you know, there's all kinds of insurances and problems and things with play areas. So, you know, I assume that's a no-no. But the other thing that cropped up was a defibrillator. So I realise, obviously, you're not going to fund the whole of the item, but, you know, would it be possible that you would possibly consider funding half of it, and that we managed to raise, say, they're about £2,000. So if we committed to raising the other £1,000 by outdoor activities, because we haven't got anywhere indoors, you know, say something like, you know, last year we were supposed to have done a Halloween walk, and, you know, everybody was quite excited because you go up with your torch and, you know, everybody had their little spooky story and whatever. You know, like a turkey buster walk, maybe an online quiz or something. You know, would you fund half of a specific thing like that?
I would say that it wouldn't be our priority to fund the purchase of equipment as the totality of the project. I would say that we would have to give priority to other projects where, you know, it's about bringing communities together for engagement.
Technically, it would be bringing communities together because, you know, lots of people don't know the walks in their area. They haven't met anybody before because they've just moved in, so they would have a chance to talk to, you know, neighbours. Or we've got 2 estates, so, you know, one estate would meet the other estate. So it would be beneficial to the community, and everybody would have a common aim. You know, with something like a defib, you don't know who's going to have a heart attack. It could be somebody young, it could be somebody old, it could be somebody's mum, somebody's dad. You don't know, do you? You know, so it's technically, it is very beneficial to everybody who lives there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I would say, if you were thinking of putting in an application, then have a think around some of the kind of pre-work and post-work that could be done to bring people together to kind of build a knowledge around the defibrillator. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's I wouldn't say rule it completely out of hand, but it would be about how that's framed within an engagement process.
Because, you know, really we haven't got any any costings on arranging a walk. We can do that sort of free of charge. You know, we don't need somebody to pay for leaflets or posters or something for it. I mean, we're willing to, you know, to fund those ourselves, you know, as individuals. It's just that the village needs to feel that it's getting something specific and back in return, really.
Yeah, but that would be my advice, is to just have to think about how it's framed from an engagement perspective.
Okay, thank you.
That for us is the kind of underpinning kind of ethos of what we're trying to achieve. So yeah, that I would say potentially, but it would need to be framed in such a way that you know, the emphasis is on how that would then bring the community together, how it is fulfilling cohesion objectives, really.
Okay. So it's not a no-no.
Does anyone have any more questions today?
Yeah, can I?
Yeah, sure. Is it Anne? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because we're a community organisation that works cross-boundary between Ceredigion and Carmarthenshire, if we held an event, well, most of our events are held in Ceredigion because that's where the facilities are. But would we be able to apply funding for both counties, from Ceredigion and Carmarthen, for the same project event?
So are you talking about putting in 2 applications?
Yes.
I would say that one application is for the same project would be all you could do, really, because it's a regional fund. So we're looking at, you know, we're quite happy to accept base funds. We're quite happy to accept project applications that cross county boundaries across the region.
Right, but for one funding.
Yeah, because what we've done in previous rounds, some projects which were running online, for instance, engaged with people across different communities across the region. So you know, we're not saying you can either focus something kind of face to face in a local community, or it could be kind of engaging with a wider community of people who have a shared or common interest across the region. So if it was for the same project, it would need to be just one application.
Okay.
If it's got 2 separate
yes,
themes to it, then by all means put in 2 applications. But if it was just the same activity, it would need to be 1. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Does anyone have any more questions? I can't see any more hands.
No, well, if that's all the questions, then we can leave it there. But I'll make sure to share your contact details with everyone. So if they have any further questions, they'll be able to give you an email. But yeah, thank you very much for coming and giving a really informative session, and yeah, answering all the questions. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks everybody, and best of luck with your applications. We really hope that we receive, you know, a good number of applications, and yeah, if any further questions, please do get in touch with either myself, Sarah, or Paul. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.